Happy to be here with everybody. Chodesh Tov, happy new month. We're a couple days in, but I still get to say that. Um, I'm here every month to help us mark the beginning of the new Hebrew month. Rosh Chodesh, which means head of the month, is actually the first commandment in Exodus in Torah that God commands the Israelites to do. It's that moment of the Israelites leaving slavery and moving into freedom, the Exodus story that we all know so well. And the very first thing that God commands the Israelites to do is to mark the new moon of the month of Nisan and all the months thereafter. And the rabbis say, like, why is that the first commandment? And the summation of their thought is that the difference between being a slave and a free person is our own ownership of time. And so all Jews of all bodies and all genders are supposed to be in relationship with our freedom and agency of our time. And it's a good reminder for us to mark time and do our very best to make it sanctify and holy. Every month has its own themes to it, has its own same four Torah portions and same holidays that are associated with each month. And if you've sat with me on a Rosh Chodesh before, you know that they span the spectrum of humanity, from joy to despair, from dreams and hopes and dreaming, to returning to ourselves. We know that the Hebrew calendar offers a lot, not just the singular holidays, but everything that encompasses the themes of the month. So Rosh Chodesh is all of our inheritance. And I love the opportunity to mark sacred time and to incorporate the Hebrew calendar into a way of grounding in my soul and in my Jewish spirituality. Unfortunately and fortunately, we're in the months of despair. In the Hebrew calendar, the summertime, this past month that we just finished, Tammuz, and this month, Av, are a reflection of what's happening in the natural world, which is that it's hot, hot, hot. And when it is hot, it is not just pool parties and barbecues. In the spiritual calendar, there's actually this undertone of intensity that sometimes gets too hot and destruction happens. The month of Av that we are in the beginning of is kind of like this month that's about, it starts with the intensity and ends with the love. And so it's a month about transforming grief into love, are the themes of this month. Show of hands, just before we get started. Anybody feeling a sense of grief right now? Okay, I'm not alone. And I can know that there's a lot of reasons that we all feel the grief, both globally in the Jewish community, and I'm sure in all of our lives, in our country, in our local communities. I mean, this is not the moment for us to make our grief list, but if you raised your hand, you're not alone. And I'm also here to say that it's actually aligned spiritually with what's going on in the Hebrew calendar. In Mishnah, it says that actually when Av enters, we decrease our joy. So unlike Adar, where when Dar enters, we increase our joy, when Av enters, we're supposed to even diminish our joy even more. And that is because we are in this 3-week mourning period from what was the 17th of Tammuz, which was like a week and a half or so ago, all the way until the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, which means 9th of Av, which in the Roman calendar will be August 3rd. And these are our 3 weeks of mourning. It's the time where actually Tisha B'Av commemorates both destructions of both temples, first by the Babylonians in 586 BCE, and the second by the Romans in 70 CE. They happen on the same day. It's a very, very, very sad day. And then on the other side of it, the rabbis realized that we were in such grief and such sadness that they placed a beautiful holiday called Tu B'Av, which means the 15th of Av or the full moon of Av, that commemorate love. And it is our love holiday. So before we start our meditation, I want everyone to jot down around you in the Roman calendar. It's August 9th. Please, it's Saturday night. Please make plans with people that you love to do something to celebrate and honor your love for each other. I think we all need it. And that's what the Hebrew calendar is commanding us to do, to say, let's go from this grief, but let's also make sure that we find strength and comfort and love with the people around us. In fact, the month is also called Menachem Av, which means comforting Av. And so this idea of this collective sadness, and then we might find solace and strength being together. But actually, when we transform that, we can do that together. Um, and in some ways, they're part of the same. I mean, they're part of wholeness. That the depths of despair also has the potential for the biggest forms of renewal and joy that can emerge. Um, so I want to get us into our meditation now and with those themes together and about how these two holidays come from this vital lesson of in order to feel whole, we must know what it means to feel broken. And that's a very Jewish thought. And that from the depths of our despair, we also might have the opportunity together to find the renewal and joy that could emerge and hopefully radiate from our meditation and from our personal practices into our communities and our families and beyond. So, with that, I want to say one last thing, which is that every month in the Sefer Yetzirah, which is Kabbalistic thought, there's this idea of a spiritual sense. And that sense is used as a tool to help us really feel everything that we can for that month. And it's called a spiritual chush. And the sense of this month is about listening, listening to ourselves, our hearts, our souls, and listening to each other. And of course, we know that when we are listening, we can get into the deepest relationship with ourselves and others. This idea, like Martin Buber says, an I thou relationship with the rest of humanity. And that first comes listening. So we're going to do a meditation that involves that. Of course, our central prayer in Judaism, the Shema, means to listen. And so we'll use that prayer as an opportunity for us to just notice and listen to our inner self and recognize that if you fall anywhere from the depths of your despair all the way to the maximum felt sense of love, you are experiencing the range of Av. And actually, if you are moving between them, that's what's going on in the Hebrew calendar for this month. And it won't be next month, and it's not going to be 6 months from now. I can't promise the news, but the spiritual energies of the month, for sure, for Av, are right here, right now. So with that, let's drop into our practice. Find yourself in a comfortable position. Take a deep breath in and open breath out. That's even heavy to hear that we're in the weeks of mourning. Feel free to let your eyes close or soften them on something that's around you. Let's start by just shaking our hands and our arms, our necks, bring our shoulders up to our ears. Exhale, drop them down our back. Just get your body ready to sit for this time together. Feel free to just go right to your heart. Place your hand on your heart if you're just noticing that despair, that destruction, that intensity already. Give yourself the nourishment that you need, that you deserve. And take a couple of breaths here to set your intention for this gathering. Inhaling all 219 souls together and exhaling. Find comfort that you're not doing this alone, that you're here with others, and that Jewish wisdom teaches us to be in collective care and community with each other. You can allow your hands to relax. And lastly, let the couch or the chair or the earth support you completely. Inhaling and exhaling. As we move through this practice of mindfulness and to remember to dial up the listening, of course, without judgment, just a comfort awareness. I want us to bring our awareness and our listening to the top of our heads, our keters, the place Akipa sits, and connect to the energy of divine love that comes from above, and invite the universal loving energy into your space. Imagine this light shines down through the top of your head and all around your face to soften for what's present for you in your mind. Softening your brow and your jaw. And imagine that light as divine love that guides you. And we'll bring our light down to our heart center, back of your heart, the fret of your heart. And then notice if breath can help create space here. Your heart expanding with each inhale, you coming back to the center on your exhale. Inhale, expanding your heart. Exhale, bringing that light into your heart. And continue that practice. Inhale, expanding your heart. Exhaling, centering on your heart. And listen. Listen to what your heart needs to say or feel or anything that arises with curiosity and compassion. On our next inhale, we can gently drop further into our body and identify and listen to what's going on right in our stomach area, our back. Listen for a moment to your body. Perhaps this is the place where grief and pain live. What sensations do you notice? What textures do you notice? How much space does this take up? And again, observing with compassion and curiosity. What do you need to hear from your stomach? And when you're ready, you can reconnect with that light that's coming down from the top of your head. And imagine the light coming all the way down through your heart center and expanding through that heart into your stomach. And if you notice grief, sadness, remember this is the season. And invite the light to embrace the grief and pain with tenderness. The light can welcome it all and be present for it without needing to do anything for it, coexisting at this moment. Breathe with it. Invite the light down your legs, the front and back, down to your feet. Inhale, expanding. Exhale, centering. Together we'll sound Shema together, this central idea of listening and our relationship with the divine in our bodies. That really, that one word can take us through quite a journey of observance, quiet awareness, wisdom. We'll sound the word out, stretching it out as long as you'd like. Of course, you all will be on mute, but feel free to make an audible sound with me and keep your listening ears to your body. Inhaling. Shh. Mm. Ah. Shh. Mm. Ah. Continue to notice your breath and allow yourself to stay with it as long as this feels comfortable for you. Inviting the divine light from the top of your head through your heart center into your stomach and the rest of your body. And feel free to send that tent of light to others in your family or community that need it, that deserve it. And take your hands together as we complete our meditation together. We'll rub it up for some heat, like the heat we're experiencing here this summer. It's like 100 degrees in DC, so make it really, really hot. And then place your warm hands anywhere on your body that need that extra affirmation of love and support. And when you're ready, you can gently allow your eyes to open. And this is my favorite thing to do with you all. Lean a little bit closer and find someone's eyes and give them a little comforting of nod that we did this together, that we're doing this together, that we're in this practice together, and we're not alone. Chodesh Tov, everybody. I hope you have a comforting of, and you don't shy away from your tears, but that you make sure on purpose to plan your love and that they go together.
Amen. Thank you so much, Sarah, for a really moving, beautiful teaching. We'll now seal our practice with Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll see on your screen in a moment. And it's a time of remembrance and connection. Now, with our open hearts, let's recite together. Yid Gadal v'yid Kadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Rama divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh v'chayechon
Chaychon
yamecho
Yamecho
chayedecho
Hayed
Beit
Cho Beit
Yisrael
Yisrael
v'yalav
Vagala Visman
Kaviv
Kaviv
Umaru.
Umaru Amen.
Amen.
Yehi
Shmei
Shmei
Rabban
Rabba
Shmei
Barach
Rabban Alamei
Alamaya
Alamaya Leon
Viparach Viftamach
V'Parach
Vipar Vitraman Vinase
V'Naseh
Vitadar Vitale
V'Taleh
Vitala
V'Talal
Vishras Vishra
V'Sham
Ve'ela Kolberchata Visham
Job,
Kolberchata
Elam,
Vishram
Avishra, Isbahat,
Lama Rabba Mitshamale Chayim Aleinu
Mikol
Bechol
Dial,
Yisrael
Arobo,
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom Ura
Yaseh Shalom
Shalom
Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al
Aleinu
Kol
ve'al kol
Yisrael
Yisrael,
Kol
V'al
Yisrael
Yoshvei
V'Kol
Tevel.
Yishvei Tevil
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Ja, Kolli Schwete, ja.
Amen. Amen. Again, thank you so much, Sarah. Also want to thank Rachel for the tech support today. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern. If you're able to stay with us for another 15 minutes, it's good with you, Sarah, for some questions. Amazing. An opportunity to ask some questions to our teacher. If I could, I'd love to start off with a question that I have, and if you'd like to ask a question, please put it in the chat. And it's helpful if you write the word question in all caps to help catch my eye. It strikes me that I love how you brought together Tu B'Av and Tisha B'Av, love and grief. And it strikes me that as we're now in the 9 days, that there's a way in which if I know that Tu B'Av is coming, it can inform how I'm able to experience the 9 days. And the sequential nature of a calendar that we know is really interesting. And in some ways, it strikes me that my experience in my heart and my body is in some ways sequential, in that something will happen and then at a later point something else will happen. But it's of course not as simple as a calendar portrays, where it's like one day love, another day grief. That there's so much that's kind of mixed up together. And I really resonated with how you brought it into the body in our practice, and how it allowed for a complexity of experience to be there for me. So I'm just curious for you to reflect on that a little bit. Like, how do you practice with that, holding both that sequential nature and also the ways in which in any given moment our experience is kind of everything together in some way? So I'm curious what your experience is.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, is then the kind of like the most beautiful and also most frustrating part of Judaism is that it's like, and everything? You have a question? It's like yes and no. And what does that mean to you? And so I think that my answer to that is yes, it is all encompassing. It is supposed to give you the space for the wholeness, and that the rabbis on purpose put the love so that you could have it not just be the despair, but be the wholeness of all of it. And I think in Judaism, we really like to create boundaries around time so that we can feel our feelings fully. So you can think of it like a yort site. Like on my grandparents' yort site, it's not that I'm not sad that I don't have my grandparents with me every single day. I have a picture of them right here. I have my grandmother's old perfume right here. If I want to recall her, I can smell that. It's just that on the day of their yard site is the day that I am allowing myself to feel that fully. And then the rest of the days, I'm kind of in this, I'm not going to stop my life because of their passing. That is part of normal humanity. but I'm going to spend one day a year plus the, other days of remembering folks who Yisker days of allowing myself to feel that fully. And so that's kind of how I would think about the month of Av, which is that it's 9 days of really intensity and you put the boundary around it. And then that one specific day where you go extra hard. I mean, you read Lamentations. Like the first time I read Lamentations, I was like, wow, this is really sad. There's no one who could read this without feeling sad. And so the tradition is to go really, really hard. So you didn't have connection with the first or second temple, okay, but you read this text, can't not be sad. So there's all the rituals that are helping you just go so hard into it, but not to stay there. That the rest of the month is focused around the boundary of, and now we're putting our attention to this other thing. And it's not that we're not sad that those things didn't happen or that the continued grief of the world don't exist, but that actually we're in more of the like coexistence of what it feels like to be human. And the ideas of the months are that each of those months and those holidays and the rituals that are associated with it could help us bring one of those complex feelings that we might have to focus a little bit more. It's kind of like the blurred screen we were talking about. It's not that you can't see your whole screen, but that there's like one part that's really, really focused that you're in that intention with. And there might be someone who knows this better than me, but I'm pretty sure that Tu B'Av is actually one of the only holidays that the rabbis put specifically on purpose, and they did that on specifically because they didn't want us to feel sad for too long. And the idea of the love holiday, which like in biblical times when singles went out and everyone tried to matchmake and tried to increase love and increase community and family and make more joyous connections. And that was something that was communal and that people were doing together, was put during this time, I think, to help us transition into the fall, which is a different energy, which Elul is a different energy. But if we go into Elul feeling all despair, that might just be too much, and that we need to do the tears that are about joy, and not just the tears that are about the sadness.
Beautiful. Question from Shmarya Moshe. I hope I said your name right. And I also was thinking about this with the centrality of listening in the practice we did today. He says, as a modern Jew, I'm fascinated by how important the physiology of hearing affects the meaning of the Shema. By the way, I love my hearing aids. Such a great question. Curious, if you could say more about listening and the body in that experience.
Man, I kind of want to hear what he has to say about it. I love your hearing aids also. And my mom is actually someone who's lost her hearing pretty dramatically and has actually needed to like remove herself from community because she can't hear as well. So any aid that we can to keep our hearing up, I'm obviously pro. I think, sounds are impacting our body all the time. My voice is impacting you. You probably are getting a sense just by hearing my natural voice. People are speech coaches to try to help people talk down and try to give people a sense of what they're feeling without even thinking about it. So I think, here's Av, and if hearing is affecting your wholeness, this is your month where you actually get to dial that up, that it's the spiritual sense. It's a tool to help you sharpen to get into the feelings of the month. And that actually is sparking something for me, which is that I love sounds, and I do all these like audio recordings on my phone when I hear something I really like. And just this weekend, I heard my wife and my daughter giggling like hysterically together. And I came and rushed down into the other room and recorded the audio of it because it was just so sweet and pure. And I just wanted to capture it because there's nothing that like nobody could listen to that without feeling that. And I didn't know what they were doing or anything. I just heard the sound of the laugh. And I did the same when I was at the beach of the tides. And so, my friend, I encourage you to like try out listening without judgment, without trying to make meaning of it. Just be curious to how that feels in your body and what sensations and emotions might the different sounds spark for you? Because Av is really like the roller coaster of it all.
Hmm.
What do you think, Jordan?
What do I think?
Yeah, about the question.
I mean, I really resonate with it, and the I mean, we didn't plan this. I last week recorded a teaching that will be on the IJS, I think, Instagram this week about listening as a practice. And we start the reading the book of Devarim this week always the week before Tisha B'Av, and it's Jonathan Sachs points out the word listen in some form, Shema in some form, occurs 92 times in Sefer Devarim, in the whole book of Deuteronomy, and way more than anywhere else. And it really underlines the centrality of listening at the heart of building a covenantal society, which is kind of the big mission. But in our and so I'm fascinated by the idea, but in my own practice, I feel like, I mean, you really led us into it so beautifully, that uh, the way in which listening is embodied, and to bring our practice to work with the embodied experience of listening, as opposed to just thinking it's like a conceptual, like if I'm listening to you, I'm just thinking about the things you're saying, but listening from a heart place, from a belly place, in which we're receptive and soft in the body, loving in the body. It's a totally different experience. So, yeah, that's my take. Um, I want to bring in there are a whole bunch of great comments and questions here. Just to raise up another from Cheryl. Question: I think you said we need to know slash feel our brokenness in order to feel our wholeness. Can you speak a bit more about that?
Ooh. I mean, I think there's a Psalms quote, Jordan, you might be able to recall it better than I do, about those who can reap the sadness can also reap the joy, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few verses, but in one of the Shirei Hamalot, the Psalms of Ascent, it says, we sow with tears, but we'll reap with joy. And there's also the idea of God is close to the brokenhearted. So there are kind of different variations on that theme for sure.
For Cheryl, I'm like leaning towards Judaism, that's like a path for us, and that we do a lot of different rituals around feeling sad on happy moments and feeling happy in sad moments so that they're together, like on your wedding day, breaking a glass. Um, and having them be together. But I think in a non-Jewish way, I'll say that I have a teenage niece who is going through some bullying as a sort of, I was trying to tell her that's a rite of passage, but of course she thinks it's the only person in the world that this has happened to. And instead of focusing on those other people, wanted to just remind her to focus on what it felt like to be bullied. And what came out on the other side is that she doesn't want other people to feel that. And so this idea that actually one's brokenness could open you up to the potential of compassion and heartfulness and who she wants to be, and that she's able to feel what it feels like to be human. We've all had heartbrokenness and have it, and that heartbrokenness with awareness, I think, allows us to feel into other people's experience. Certainly unchecked, it can be the other side, which is that it's placed on other people without intention and misguided. But I think what the teaching is here is that it's something done in community. It's something done annually. It's on purpose. We know that it's happening. We have a 3-week build up towards it. We have a lot of rituals that we do with other people. Tisha B'Av is not a day that you are by yourself. It is a day that you are with other people being sad together, and that collectively our pain can allow us to feel the full range of feelings that life has to offer us, which is what I would think wholeness is.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. Maybe we've any Sarah, any last uh, uh, thoughts about practice during this month um, that maybe we can just take with us for the road? Any final thoughts?
I just think what I just said is so important, especially someone who's like gone through bits of experiencing deep loneliness. I know that it's like we're all in actually an epidemic of loneliness. And that even though we're not physically in the same room, our minds and our hearts and our souls are here together on this call or in this recording, and that this IJS meditation community is one of support for each other, and Jewish wisdom encourages, if even goes stronger language, and commands togetherness, and to seek that out and use that as part of your practice for not just Tisha B'Av, but also any grief that you're experiencing in this moment. Like I said, certainly we don't need to go into the long list of reasons to be sad, but we all know that they're there and that we shouldn't be just siloed experiencing them. That's my wisdom of the month, is to feel your feelings fully. Don't forget the love. August 9th, everybody, date night. And make sure to do these feeling things together with other people.
Amen. Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody. I really appreciate all the wisdom that's coming through in the chat and great questions, and really value this community very, very much. So,
And the one more thing, which is
yeah.
that you shared about an event that we're hosting later in August, and the whole theme is about grief into love, and we're doing it in partnership with the Shomer Collective, which is an organization that helps folks through death and dying. And so they are kind of the experts at this.
Mm.
And so if you want to explore those themes a little bit more with us, come on August 6th to that. And I saw somebody else ask a question about the parent workshop that we hosted with IJS last week. We're doing another one in September. So I'll drop it into the chat here too. So
Amazing.
let's do more learning together. And thank you all so much for having me, Chodesh Tov.
Chodesh Tov. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jordan.
And again, thanks, Rachel, for the tech support, and see you all soon.
Bye.
Be well. Bye-bye.